All right. Welcome to the All American Hoops podcast. This is episode 19. As per usual, I'm welcomed by my older brother, John Driscoll,
Thanks for having us, man.
and my younger brother, Matt Driscoll.
It's always a pleasure. I'm repping my All American Hooper merch shirt today, so thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I was actually talking to Mom about it the other day, and our lovely younger sister actually had her shirt on for her intramural soccer game on the other day. We love to see that she's repping the brand, but however, I haven't repped my own brand in a little bit. I think that's part of the reason because I'm the same size as Dad now, so I think the clothes may have gotten mixed up there. There's probably some in his pile now. I'm gonna take a look at that later, but I'm in a great mood because we are officially at the most wonderful time of the year. Well, almost the most wonderful time of the year. Tonight is the first night of the play-in tournaments. But before we talk about the play-in tournaments, obviously, Sunday was the last game. Oh, sorry, Sunday was the last games of the season. It was game 82. I thought that was pretty cool. That was game 82 for pretty much all 30 teams at the same time. Just two different time slots. I thought that was really cool how they did that. Yeah, basically, we're just going to talk just a little bit about how the end of the season went, any of our takeaways. So first, we'll talk about the East. So the East, as we mentioned the past couple weeks, I shouldn't say a couple weeks. It feels like a few months at this point that the Celtics clinched the number one seed. But however, we're done gloating about that now because that doesn't matter anymore. But the Celtics were the one seed. The Knicks finished as the second seed, followed by the Bucks third, the Cavs fourth, the Magic fifth, the Pacers sixth, and after that we have our four playing teams. The Sixers will be hosting the Heat tonight, and the Bulls. Oh, not tonight. That's tomorrow night. The West is tonight. And the Bulls will be hosting the Hawks. So, Matt, I was wondering, did you have any main takeaways from the Eastern Conference seedings and how they resulted?
Not really any crazy takes. I think the kind of takeaway from the 7 and 8 seed is that the Sixers aren't a normal 7 seed because of Embiid being out almost the entire year, and the Heat are always going to give you troubles in the playoffs. You know, Eric Spoelstra is just one of the best coaches in the league, if not the best. But with the other seedings, Knicks moved up to the 2 seed. I think that's kind of deserved. I think the Knicks are the second best team in the East. And then the Bucks are the 3 seed playing the Pacers. We'll talk about this more later, but that's a very interesting matchup there. But that's really all the takeaways I had.
Yeah, I think Matt hit pretty much everything. The Heat and the Sixers kind of pose as threats that maybe the 1 and the 2 seed Celtics and Knicks really aren't thrilled about having to play. If it is them, it's not exactly an easy first round opponent. That being said, if the Knicks and the Celtics are true 1 and 2 seeds, they shouldn't have too much of a problem taking care of business. Because even if Joel Embiid's healthy with the Sixers, they're probably still a 3 seed, and you probably still expect to beat him and the Sixers in the later rounds of the playoffs. I wanted to just touch on the Knicks. They went into that last Sunday with, controlling their own destiny. If they win, they would get the 2 seed. You've seen teams in the past kind of mess around and try to maybe slide back a couple seeds to get a more favorable first-round matchup. I think it's pretty admirable that they kind of said, we're going to win this game. We're just going to play whoever comes in front of us. And I think the basketball gods have a way of rewarding teams like that. I think the Bucks have done this in the past, where they've kind of taken the foot off the gas to get a more favorable first-round matchup. Look, maybe that's just how it played out, but I think, it's happened a few times, and the basketball gods have kind of held them accountable for that. So I guess we'll see what happens. You never know what happens, but I think kudos to the Knicks for playing and getting the highest seed possible.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Bucks did that. I think it was 2020. It was 2022 where they kind of sat out a good bunch of their starters to duck the Nets, who were the 7th seed with KD and Kyrie. And also, the Cavs did that this year too. They benched all their starters. Granted, I don't think if I'm not mistaken, it wouldn't have mattered in the end for them. I think they would have either finished the 3rd or they would have either stayed at the 4th or also been the 3rd seed. But it's just super unfortunate to see. Go, John.
No, I was going to say it seems weird because the Cavs kind of tried to fall back to that 4 so they can play the Magic. But if you look more down the line, like you would have to play one of Boston, say Boston wins in the first round, or Philly or Miami. So it's, you can
Yeah.
pick and choose who you want to play in the first and second round. But at the end of the day, if you want to make a playoff championship run, you're going to have to beat these teams.
Yeah. And it's just kind of weird. Like I understand we're all human, but these are also these are the best basketball players in the world. So you have to be hyper competitive to do that. So it just feels, it doesn't really sit well with me that like that's kind of a mindset. Which, granted, I understand. Like I said, we're all human, and yet and you're like, I'm sure there are gonna be players that are afraid to face like Tatum and Giannis, but still, that's kind of it's kind of weird in my mind. But yeah, before we move on to the West, actually, I'm gonna credit Matt's roommate Dean again. This is the second straight episode. I'm giving him credit for screenshotting my NBA standings at the beginning of the year. Really pissed at myself that I haven't figured out how to screen share yet. But so for every year, I always project every team's record and seeding. So I'm not going to go through the record just because like I don't have all the records written down, but I was right about the Celtics being the first seed. I had the Bucks as the second seed, so I was one seed off there. I had the Cavs finishing third, so again 1 seed off there. The Sixers finishing fourth, so 3 seeds off there. But I'm gonna give myself the benefit of the doubt. I think the Sixers would have finished fourth if Embiid stayed healthy or higher. Had the Miami Heat finishing fifth. Again, that's 3 seeds off, but yeah, that's that wasn't so great. I had my Orlando Magic finishing sixth, and that was a hot take, but they finished even better. So really happy with that one there. And then we get down to the bad takes. I did have the New York Knicks finishing seventh. I thought that Jaylen Brown. I promise I'm not going to do this every episode, but because I did this last episode with John and Matt, I also did this in the episode with Ori. We talked about our awards, but the Knicks have proven me wrong every step of the way. And then I had the 8, 9, 10. I had the Hawks at 8th. They finished 10th. Pacers at 9th. They finished 6th, and the Bulls at 10. So I had the 10 correct playing teams, but like teams that made the postseason. But so I'm pretty happy about that. But also the Knicks and the Heat weren't really the best takes though.
Yeah, Chris, I gotta say, Dean going back and finding tweets and screenshotting them from the beginning of the season is an all-time hater activity, and I gotta tip the cap there. As a hater myself, it's impressive. But having all 10 playing in playoff teams is very impressive.
Yeah, I almost picked the Pistons to be that 10 seed, but then I chose the Bulls and the Raptors over them, so that would end up being a good decision there. But hopefully it's next year the Pistons because I do enjoy this Pistons core. But we'll go out west now. So the West was even more so up in the air. I think it was Friday. I think it was by the end of Friday nights. It was the Celtics locked in at 1. The Clippers and the Mavs locked in at 4 and 5, and the Hawks and the Bulls locked in at 9 and 10. But yeah, like things were completely up in the air in the West. But essentially, it ended up as the Thunder grabbing that 1 seed, the youngest team to ever average age team to be the 1 seed. The Nuggets reigning champs finishing second, the Wolves finishing third, the Los Angeles Clippers finishing 4th, the Mavs 5th, and the Phoenix Suns 6th. And once the playing teams are the Pelicans, the Lakers, the Kings, and the Warriors. So, John, did you have any takeaways for the teams out west?
For the playing teams, not much. I think that are we talking seeding or
this is anything? Yeah, it could be seeding. It could be anything regarding the West. Like it doesn't have to be playing teams either. It could be any of those things.
Yeah, I think that the Thunder grabbing the 1 seed is actually a lot more important than people are leading on. The fact that they kind of play I don't want to say loser, but like the lesser of the 7 or 8, essentially, it's important because I think you look at the 2 seed Nuggets, who pretty much wind up playing, they have a high chance of now playing the Lakers, who I think in that group pose as the biggest threat, in my opinion. I think the biggest knock on the Lakers is their ability to stay healthy and consistent. Anthony Davis played 76 games this year. LeBron James is LeBron James. They did this last playoff run. They kind of eked into the playoffs, and then they ran into a couple favorable matchups and just kind of went on a run. So I think that the Thunder grabbing that first seed is important. I think that it's going to be I think honestly it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that 7-8 seed pans out. There's a lot of talent, a lot of veterans, and a young team like the Pelicans can kind of eke in and see what they can do in the first round. But yeah, I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, I think the craziest, biggest takeaway from the West is the top 3 seeds. When the Nuggets lost on Friday against the Spurs, it was obviously a huge upset. But the Timberwolves flashed on their jumbotron that the 1 seed was still available, and the place went crazy. They thought they clinched the 1 seed, but then they ended up losing on Friday, or losing on Sunday, I believe. Thunder kind of snuck in. I felt like it was always close the entire year, but I felt like the Timberwolves and the Nuggets were really the top 2. But Thunder sneaking at the 1. Like you said, John, you think the Lakers are the biggest threat to the Nuggets. I kind of disagree with that. I think the Pelicans are the best team out of the bunch, and I think the Nuggets kind of have the Lakers' number. I think in the last 8 games, kind of the postseason, they're 8-0 against them. But yeah, they swept them last year. So yeah, I mean, if anyone's going to beat the Nuggets in the first round, I think it will be the Pelicans. But yeah, those are the biggest takeaways.
I would say that to go off of that, I actually agree with you that the Pelicans probably pose as the biggest threat. I think the Lakers probably have the highest ceiling, if that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's a fair take.
But you're right to say that the Pelicans pose as the bigger threat to the Nuggets. And that being said, I think I think all 3 of us agree that the Nuggets are probably going to handle business regardless. But
yeah, it feels almost disrespectful to that the Nuggets are the first seed, but all of us are still downing them. Because I think that all the playing teams besides the Kings could beat the Thunder in a 7-game series. The Warriors are not likely, but I don't think I would count out Steph Curry just carrying the Warriors in a round 1 series with the help of Draymond Green and not so much Klay Thompson, but maybe Kuminga and company and those guys. I see a world where I definitely see a world where that happens, but I don't think it will happen. I don't even know if the Warriors win tonight. But yeah, that's interesting for sure. Yeah, other than that, there's really not too many surprises. I again, this is something I didn't realize as well, but again, my Western Conference predictions, I had again all 10 playing teams were correct. I did predict the part of that I'll blame on John Morant. I really didn't think. Obviously, we knew he was going to be up at least 25 games. We didn't know he'd be up for the whole season though. But yeah, I had the Nuggets first, but then I had the Lakers second, so that's an automatic turn off that and then the Clippers third, so 1 seed away, the Suns fourth, 2 seeds away, the Warriors fifth, 5 seeds away, Wolves sixth, that's 3 seeds away again, the Mavs 7, 3 seeds away, the Kings 8, 2 seeds away, Pelicans 9, 2 seeds away as well, and then the Thunder 9 seeds away. So all 10 teams, but however very far off for pretty much all of them. So yeah, again, shout out Dean for going through my old business and seeing all that.
It's hard predicting. I think it's just as impressive that you picked the actual teams. It's hard to especially get it down to the number, especially given all the injuries and emerging stars and stuff like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, but I still think the worst take that we'll do All American Hooper / Chris Driscoll bad takes, especially on primetimesportstalk.com, because last year my worst take was the Heat being the losers of the trade deadline because they didn't have a shot at going on playoff run. This year's bad take was predicting that Wemby would win Rookie of the Year over Chet, but not because he'd be better, but because the Spurs might have a better record than the Thunder. So I think that's my bad take of the year, but there could be some others. We'll see down the line.
If they need help finding those bad takes, I will more than likely supply them.
And I don't think I'll have to ask you for that either. So and
you'd be happy to help.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, with that, we will move on to the breakdown of the play-in tournaments. We'll start off East, but yeah, we'll start off with the West now since those games are tonight. But tonight is the opening night. First, we have the 7-8 matchup of the Pelicans versus the Lakers. Now, the Lakers blew out the Pelicans on Sunday afternoon. It was in pretty brutal fashion, honestly. And I was someone who was extremely high on the Pelicans heading into heading into the season, and or maybe not so much heading into the season, but definitely like the last like month or so. I thought that they were clearly on their way up, and they were like a potential threat to make like a conference finals run. Both of you mentioned how you could think the Pelicans could beat the Thunder. I thought that too, but however, I think the past couple weeks kind of showed that maybe they're not so much for it. But Matt, I was wondering maybe you could give either your prediction and also your breakdown of your just overall takeaways from the game of what might happen.
For Lakers Pelicans, I really like the Pelicans. I think they're the best team out of the 4 playing teams. So I have them beating the Lakers tonight. I don't think this will happen, I should say. Let me clarify. But maybe the Lakers look at it as, the Nuggets kind of have our number. Maybe, if we're down big early, we take the night off and hope for the best. But I don't think that will happen because, they could just lose the game on, I think it's Thursday. But, yeah, I have the Pelicans beating the Lakers. And sorry, did you ask for the Warriors-Kings one as well?
No. We'll do that in a little bit. Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I also have the Pelicans over the Lakers. I know I mentioned that the Lakers have a higher ceiling, but Anthony Davis left the game on Sunday. Granted with I think they were up like 30 or something like that, but he had back spasms. So I don't know what the Lakers are reporting on that. I'm not sure if he's 100%. I'm sure he'll be fine to play, but definitely a little banged up. The Lakers are the only team in the Western Conference playoffs right now that are under 500 on the road, and they're playing in New Orleans. So I think I looked up the line earlier. The Pelicans are home dogs, plus 1.5. But I do like the Pelicans in this matchup. I think they're healthier, they're at home, and I think they might be a little hungrier.
Yeah, all those are reasonable takes for sure. I think the Pelicans are certainly the deeper team. They as far as it goes for both bench and also like for like guys like 4, 5, 6, probably as well. I do, however, think the Lakers are going to take care of business tonight. I just think that it seems like that like every year, like LeBron and AD just like roll into the play-in tournament. They just want to get out of it quickly, and I do think that maybe I'm not going to expect so much of a repeat on Sunday, but I do think that I'm expecting LeBron to have a great night. Same thing with AD. Zion might be the X factor in this game, but yeah, he played awful on Sunday. I think it's going to take a little more than just him playing a great game in order for them to come back. So I will go. I'll take the Lakers in this game, but I'll say maybe just Lakers in a like 5-6 point, 5 or 6 points. That's what I'm thinking. So then we'll go into both the games are nights, but like the later game, which is the Kings Warriors. This is a rematch of last year's round 1, and which the Warriors won in 7. It wasn't just a regular series either. It was kind of brutally hard fought. Obviously, you had the Draymond versus Sabonis incidents. And then obviously Steph went off. Like he had the most points in Game 7 history, which was broken 2 weeks later. And then and then and I wrote this in my article about the game. It feels like the Kings were, because like I thought the Kings were like one of the more disappointing teams this year. One thing I didn't realize is that last year they're the 3 seed and they had 48 wins. This year they're the 9 seed and with 46 wins. So they lost 2 more games, and they fall us down 6 spots. That shows you how deep the West is, and also how just like razor thin the margins were as well. So John, any takeaways from what you think might happen tonight with those games?
Yeah, I've really gone back and forth a lot on this. I will say I think a healthy Kings team wins this game, but I think they have Malik Monk and Herter out, right? So I lean more towards the Warriors just based on overall health. I will say that if Fox gets going, and he's known to get going early, if he can continue that throughout the game, the Kings have a chance. But if I were to put money on it, I would lean more towards the Warriors, but I think it'll be a good game.
Yeah, John, basically the same take. I do think the Kings healthy would beat the Warriors. I am unfortunately going to pick the Warriors, not because I think they're a good team. I think they stink. I really do. I think they're going to get absolutely killed the next night against the Pelicans or Lakers. But Kings are banged up. They're 4-6 in the last 10 compared to the Warriors 8-2. Maybe the Warriors are figure something out. But I have the Warriors winning this one strictly because of injuries.
And maybe I'm being a superstar merchant with these takes, but I do feel like when it comes down to single game elimination games, it does come down to just the experience and starts. So yeah, I'm going to take the Warriors in this game. Maybe I'm not going to expect Steph to drop 50 again, but I am, however, going to expect him to drop like 30 plus on great efficiency with the help of Draymond Green anchoring the defense. And yeah, like as you guys said, Fox can get going for sure. Sabonis can get going, but I do think that Draymond kind of has his number there. I wrote it down in my article, but any of you guys remember the odds on that game?
I think this afternoon the Warriors were favored. I believe
the Warriors were favored. Okay,
2.5. Warriors are
2.5. Okay. Warriors, yeah, makes sense. Okay, yeah, I'll take the Warriors points in that game too. Yeah, I don't know how close the game would be. However, both Steph and Fox are two of the most clutch players in the league, so obviously those games are always going to be fun down the stretch. And yeah, definitely want to be opposed to seeing a game like that. But yeah, give me the Warriors in that game. And
you mentioned it, Chris, Green and Sabonis, great matchup to watch.
Oh yeah, I always love to see that. And so Matt picked John, I missed that. You picked the Kings or the Warriors?
I picked the Warriors.
Oh, we all did. Okay, good. Okay, yeah. So we do. Yeah, so I was the odd man out, and I picked the Lakers in that game. So if you guys wanted to give you a breakdown on what would be the Pelicans versus Warriors game, how would you? It would be the Lakers Warriors, right? If you guys pick. Yeah, it would be Lakers Warriors. Yeah. So if you want to break down the game, if you wanted
to. Yeah, I kind of got into it on my little rant then, but I think the Warriors are not a good team. I think they've showed it the entire year. I know Draymond's been out, but I think they're a little old. Their time is done. So I have the Lakers beating them, and I trust LeBron in a single elimination game.
Yeah, totally agree. I think honestly, out of the potential 3 games that we've discussed, this potential Lakers Warriors game would be the widest margin. If I were to guess, I think the Lakers win pretty comfortably.
Interesting. Yeah. Maybe it's because maybe it's because I believe in the Warriors a little more. They have had a top 10 net rating since the All-Star break, so they have been a little better towards the end of the season, but obviously the past few weeks hasn't been as great. And sorry, I just got a list from Johns. They picked the 12th Olympic players, so I'll look at that later. But it's as far as it goes, I would take the Warriors over the Pelicans in an elimination game. I do think that Steph is a little more experienced. I know that again, I'm doing it based on Steph and just overall experience, and I do trust the Warriors in an elimination game, even though I do believe in Zion, but he's someone that I just think would struggle a little bit against a player like Draymond as well. So yeah, so my bracket would be different from your guys. It would be the Thunder versus the Warriors in a round 1 series. I see both you looking down. Did you get the alert? Did you see what it was?
Yeah, is this breaking news on the pod?
I think so.
Pod history. Wow, I'm happy to be part of it. But yeah. I believe Anthony Davis was on the original roster, correct?
Oh, he wasn't? I thought he was.
Oh, he tweeted the.
I'm trying to look who would be it was Devin Booker?
Hang on.
Oh, so, Kawhi. Was he already on?
Yes, Kawhi. Yeah, it was Kawhi. Okay. Yeah.
Kawhi was the 12th?
Kawhi was the 12th. No Jaylen Brown, unfortunately. That's okay.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, you're looking for guys who can play both sides of the ball, and that's why I think we're all Jalen Brunson fans. I mean, you can only have so many pure scorers, too many cooks.
Exactly.
I like that move though.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I made my roster back in, I want to say it was October, maybe even September. It was September actually. The whole news came out, and then I made my 12-man roster. I did have Kyrie Irving and Jaylen Brown on the list because, first of all, Jaylen Brown, just because we love him, he's a great two-way guy, great locker room guy, and then I wanted Kyrie just to be that 12th man, just because he's always if you want to introduce basketball to someone for the first time, you show them a Kyrie Irving reel, and that would be pretty cool just to see what an American can do. Just watching Kyrie Irving film. Yeah, but yeah, very cool that we just broke news there. I broke news on my friend's podcast, when Doc Rivers was signed by the Bucks. So yeah, but this one felt much more real, just because it was because like there was speculation leading up to it. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. So awesome. So we did the West, yeah. So now we're talking about the East playing games. So tonight, I can say tonight, yes. It's tomorrow night. We have the Sixers versus the Heat. That is debatably, I think probably, like, I was trying to find a way to put in words last night when I was giving my prediction in my article, but I think these are like debatably the two best playing teams in. Maybe the two best playing teams, like besides maybe the 2021 Lakers, like when LeBron was injured and everything. But I think this may be the best playing game in playing history, which I know it's a small sample size, but I think it's very, very cool. One of you mentioned it, how it's just the Heat are just a team that always steps up. Yeah, it was Matt talked about Eric Spoelstra, one of the best coaches in the league, even all time. And obviously, the Sixers are just a different team with Embiid on the floor. So, John, you want to give your breakdown of that game?
Yeah, like you said, I think this is not your normal playing game. It's really cool to see it's not a one game elimination, but like one game to see who can nab that 7 seed. Two talented teams, I would say, especially Philly. I have the Sixers winning this game. Not really sure by how much. I didn't really check the odds. I think the Sixers have been playing really good ball recently, especially with a relatively healthy Joel Embiid. We're not really sure what percentage he's at, but I don't really think Miami has much of an answer for him. I think that it's gone pretty unmentioned that, Joel Embiid got hurt and everyone kind of wrote off the Sixers, and then they added Buddy Hield. And you saw Joel Embiid make a step before he got hurt as a playmaker, and him being a playmaker with a combination of Tyrese Maxey taking a jump and the addition of Buddy Hield. We won't mention Tobias Harris because I think all Philly fans are getting tired of hearing his name. But I have the Sixers winning this game and nabbing that 7 seed. And I think that's going to be a really good series between the Knicks and the Sixers, if it does potentially happen.
Yeah, John, I totally agree. I just checked the odds. The Sixers are 5.5 point favorites, so minus 5.5. I think that's pretty interesting, but I think that also shows that I think the Sixers are just the better team here. I said it last time I was on, that the Sixers were the 3 seed when Joel Embiid got hurt. They were, I think, a half a game up on the Sixers, but still, they would probably be a 3 seed if Embiid didn't get hurt at all this year. So I have them beating the Heat.
Yeah, hard to disagree with anything said there. The casual fan, which I'm not saying to be insulting at all, but like the fan who hasn't watched a ton of basketball this year might just say, "Oh, but playoff Jimmy, Eric Spoelstra." And honestly, they wouldn't be wrong to say so, especially in an elimination game. Schemes matter. The whole structure matters, and obviously, in a playoff game, I would take Jimmy Butler over Joel Embiid, but however, I don't think it's going to be a lot more than that. I do think that the Sixers are just a much better team, top to bottom, and I also think that Spoelstra is a much better coach than Nick Nurse. But I do think that Nick Nurse, I don't think it's like a massive gap to where it's going to be a difference maker. So I think that Spoelstra can only outcoach Nurse so much. So yeah, I'll take the Sixers in this game pretty easily as well. But that would lead to the other playing tournament for the East. This one isn't nearly as entertaining. Hands down, the two worst teams in both the East and the West for the postseason. The Bulls versus the Hawks. The Bulls kind of, I don't want to say they fell off because they really didn't get much better or worse with Zach LaVine, but however, their ceiling dropped significantly. Even though they're like numbers wise, they've been playing better with them on than like they've been playing with them off than on. But again, we've had our talks about how they can be misleading sometimes. But the Hawks were without Trey for a bit, but he's back now. So, Matt, what are your takeaways on that game?
You kind of covered it. I'm not like thrilled to watch this game. I think both teams aren't great. But when it comes down to it, I've like the whole year I've just had the Hawks on I guess not a tier above, but I've always just thought they were better than the Bulls. I have never really taken stock into the Bulls, even with Zach LaVine healthy. But I guess because the Hawks also beat the Celtics twice this year, I am a little biased because that's really the extent of what I see. But I will have to take the Hawks over the Bulls here.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys that this is a game that I'm not really too psyched to watch. I think the presumptuous take that I'll have is the winner of this game is just the winner of this game gets to lose against whoever loses in the first playing game. Because I think the Sixers and Heat are one or two tiers at least above both of these teams. I know Chicago, I was looking at it before, Chicago's 3-point favorites, which I was pretty surprised about. I am going to lean Chicago, actually. I know DeMar DeRozan's not exactly a playoff riser. I do like his game. I do think the Bulls are kind of poised as a pretty interesting matchup for the Hawks. They do have Caruso to kind of – I don't think many people can slow down Trae Young, but I think he has a pretty good shot of playing good on-ball defense against him. And I think DeMar DeRozan's daughter will be at the game, so any free throws by the Hawks might be coming off a little rusty. But I do have the Bulls. I really think it's just pick your poison. Doesn't really matter who wins, but hey, maybe I'm proven wrong, and we're talking about it next week on how the Hawks or the Bulls are the 8 seed. So we'll see.
And I keep on mentioning my articles, which, by the way, take a look at primetimesportstalk.com. I usually wait at the end of the episode, but since I brought it up too many times now, I mentioned that the Hawks are a team with the track record. They brought the Celtics to 6 games last year. They beat them twice in the past few weeks, back to back. And also the fact that they've made a conference finals, granted it was 3 years ago at this point, so that only means so much. But that being said, I do believe in Trae Young much more than I believe in anyone on the Bulls. I also think that Clint Capella's Vucevic might be a more talented player. I do trust Clint Capella more though in a playoff setting, and so I don't think anyone's going to blow out each other. But I think it'll be a relatively boring game to watch unless you enjoy watching foul baiters. Then that would lead to, me and Matt would have the Hawks playing the Heat, and then John would have the Heat playing the Bulls. So, John, if you want to talk about the Heat Bulls part, what do you think would happen there?
Yeah, I think my lazy take is that whoever the Heat wind up playing, whether it's the Hawks or the Bulls, the Heat come out on top. I kind of find it hard to see Eric Spoelstra losing 2 play-in games in a row. And it's truly more. My take is truly more Eric Spoelstra revolved around than playoff Jimmy. It must be pretty cool to be labeled as playoff Jimmy with, at the age of 34 with 0 finals, 0 championships. It's must be pretty cool to have all of your high moments in the playoffs put on a pedestal, and then nobody talks about your low moments compared to Jason Tatum, who has it kind of reversed. Because less than a calendar year ago, Jason Tatum dropped 51 points in a Game 7. But, yeah, he's the playoff choker. Anyway, I think that I take the Heat in this series, and then that would lead the Heat to play the Celtics in round 1. And I think we would all be pretty excited about that.
Yeah, John, I think you should tell us how you really feel about playoff not hold back any punches next time. But
I was gonna say, like, did you have your lunch today or something? Because if you want to take a break, it's okay. But and then as we mentioned, as Matt and I would have the Hawks playing the Heat. That would be a rematch of the 7-8 matchup last year in which the Hawks came out on top. Matt, I don't know if I can speak for you, but I'm going to take the Heat in that game pretty easily as well. Kind of like John said, it's going to be the same exact thing with the Bulls. Like Quinn Snyder's a good coach. Trae Young has shown that he can rise in playoff moments, but compared to the experience that the Heat has and everything, I'm taking the Heat pretty easily.
Yeah, totally agree. I think the Heat beat either the Hawks or the Bulls here. What John said, I think they're just the better team.
Cool. Next, we will hop into our overall player predictions. I kind of wish that we were able to record in between the playoffs and the play-in tournaments, but obviously we can only do this once a week, and we got a busy weekend coming up as well. So, we didn't discuss who would go first, but why don't we go youngest to oldest? Actually, I don't have to go. I don't have to go first or last. So, Matt, why don't you go east, all east or all west, and then talk about the finals? So, just go over your entire bracket.
All right, cool. I just want to say this is also the first time I've had the first pick here. So
that's right.
First time breaking news, and first time I get first in the draft.
Matt, don't worry. Next time we do a draft, we'll have you be the first or third pick as well, because I know you got upset that. But and this doesn't count as a draft, so we'll still give you your what you want there.
Very cool, very cool. I'm going to start with the West here. So I would have the Thunder playing the Lakers in the first round. I have the Thunder advancing there. I do think the Lakers, they could potentially beat the Thunder in the playoff series because of experience in the playoffs. Thunder are very young, but the Thunder have kind of proved me wrong the entire year. They ended up as the best team in the West, standings wise, but they're just a very good team. I think they take care of the Lakers. In 6, I have the next series. I'm going to talk about the Clippers and Mavs. I think this is the best series in the first round, either on the East or the West. And I have the Mavericks beating the Clippers in 7. Then the Timberwolves Suns. I think this is going to be a better series. Me and John were kind of talking about this earlier. I think this is going to be a pretty good series, actually, but I do think the Timberwolves are going to squeak by the Suns. And then I have the next game would be Nuggets-Pelicans. I think the Nuggets are just going to handle the Pelicans. I do think the Pelicans are a good team, but I think the Nuggets will win in 4. And sorry, do you want to go round by round, or am I just?
You can go. You can go the entire West, and then talk about your entire thing.
Yeah. So then I would have the Thunder and the Mavericks. I have the Mavericks beating the Thunder. I do think the age of the Thunder will eventually catch up to them. I do think they're a good team, but I have the Mavericks beating them. They've been playing very, very well, as much as I hate to admit it. Luka and Kyrie are turning into a very, very good duo. And then I would have the Timberwolves Nuggets. I do think this is going to be a better series than people think. I think it will go 6 or 7 games. So because I want to watch more basketball, I'm going to say the Nuggets are in 7. So my conference finals is Nuggets Mavericks. And I have the Nuggets winning in 5 or 6. I kind of have, besides the Timberwolves series, I have the Nuggets kind of walking their way to the finals. I think they're the second best team in the league behind the Celtics, the defending champs. They proved it last year, so they are my finals pick. And should I do the East now, or should we?
Go ahead. Yep. Go ahead. Yeah, you can do the East.
Yeah. So my 8 seed prediction was the Heat, and they would be playing Boston Celtics. I have the Celtics in 5. I think it will be close games because the Heat play close games. But I do have the Celtics handling their business and winning in 5, and I hope Bam or Jaime Jaquez don't injure any of my players. Then I have Cavs Magic. Cavs are the 4 seed, but I'm going to ride the All-American Hooper agenda with the Magic and pick them. And then it's Bucks Pacers. This is kind of a hot take, but I don't think the Bucks are that good. Giannis is out for a couple games in the playoffs. I think Dame's play style won't translate well to the playoffs. I don't know. He's another guy that has the playoff Dame label. I just don't understand it. I have the same amount of wins past the second round as Damian Lillard does in his career. So I have the Pacers beating them. And then it's Knicks Sixers. I think this is also going to be a good series. I think the Knicks are just a better team, though, so I have them in 6. And then I have the Celtics beating the Magic in the second round in 6 games. Celtics always have a tough time versus the Magic, so that'll be a pretty good series. And then I have the Knicks beating the Pacers also in 6 games. So I have Celtics Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, which will lead to the most toxic environment in my apartment as possible, living with 2 other Knicks fans.
Luckily, you'll be moved up by then.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Chris, for reminding me.
Sorry to bring that up. Yeah. Yeah.
So then I'm assuming this might be everyone's finals, Celtics Nuggets, but I have the Celtics winning in 7. I think that's going to be a very, very great series, but I have the Celtics on top.
What's your tiebreaker point total?
I had, I think, 213.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I'll give my bracket now. So yeah, I'll do just like Matt did. I'll go out west first. So I would have the Thunder over the Pelicans a couple weeks ago when I had the Thunder as the sixth Thunder with the 1 seed. My entire thing was if the Thunder end up as a 3 seed, the Pelicans matchup is the 6 seed. I'd have the Pelicans winning. But however, since the Thunder jumped up and the Pelicans dipped down, I'm gonna have the Thunder winning that series. I have the Thunder winning in 7 games. 1-8 matchup going to 7 games certainly isn't unheard of, especially with the Celtics in 08. The Clippers versus the Mavs. The Clippers were my pick to make the finals. I also think that's not the reason that I'm picking the Clippers over the Mavs, but I just do think that they're a better two-way team. Even though the Mavs have gotten better defensively, especially in their front courts, I still trust their defense more. And Ivica Zubac just had a very good past few weeks as well. Then that would be the Wolves versus the Suns. I'll take the Wolves in 6 that series. I certainly do believe there's a scenario where KD and Booker go ballistic, but I just think in the playoffs it's going to come down to team structure a little more. And it's not like the Wolves are like this kind of wimpy young team. They have some dogs on that team, and despite what Pete Foreman thinks, I do think that Rudy Gobert can be the best defensive player on a very solid playoff team. So then I'll take the Nuggets over the Lakers in 5. I'll give the Lakers 1 game there, but however, I do think that I'm very confident in the Nuggets over them there. That'd be the next round. I would take the Clippers over the Thunder in 6 games. I do think the winner of the Clippers Mavs will make the conference finals, regardless of who they play. I do believe in both of them much more than the Thunder. But again, just like Matt, they've been proving me wrong all year long. So, sorry. Then that would be the Nuggets Wolves. I know that many people have been saying that the Wolves are the toughest matchup for the Nuggets, and I 100% agree with that. But that being said, I am going to take the Nuggets in 6 games there. I think the Wolves do pick off at least a game or 2, but I think the Nuggets still come out on top. And that would leave the Nuggets versus the Clippers. And as tempting as it was to stick with my initial finals pick of the Clippers, I'm going to take the Nuggets, and I'm probably going to take them in 5 games, honestly, because I think that's a pretty brutal matchup for the Clippers. Unless I do think there's a world where Kawhi Leonard outplays Nikola Jokic in the playoff series, but I just don't know if that happens this year. A lot would have to go his way, but I just don't see it happening. So yeah, I'd like to know the percentage, but I think that's a very, very high percentage of people that choose the Nuggets to make the finals. But then we'll go out east. Jeez, one day I forget my water. So I'll go with the Celtics over the Heat in 5. If this Celtics team is as good as we think they are, they should win this series in 5 games or less. Maybe 6 games, because the Heat are annoying as hell. But the Celtics have to take care of business in the series. This will be the tone setter to see. I'm not saying if they take it 7 games, they win the finals, but this has to be the tone setter, though. Then the Magic, Matt, I do appreciate you riding with the agenda, but I do think the Cavs will win the series. But however, I will say I've been behind the Cavs for the past 2 years now, not just the past year, because I'm a big Donovan Mitchell stan. I think what it comes down to it, neither of these teams are really great offensively, but unlike the Magic, the Cavs do have like a star player who can go off in any game. As much as I love Paolo Banchero, he's not that guy yet. And yeah, I don't think it's a hot take at all to take the Pacers over the Bucks. I know that Chris Broussard predicted it yesterday, and just because it really seems like that this whole Giannis injury is going to be a much bigger deal than people think it is. And the Pacers should, the Bucks, I don't want to say they should be able to win this game without them, but hey, John, nice. So yeah, give me the Pacers over the Bucks in this series. It'll be a very, very close. It'll be a close one. I'll take them in 6. And John, that was very quick of you. It's a very quick transition. It's not like we're down the hall from each other or anything. So yeah. Then I would take the Knicks over the Sixers in 7 games. I know that Carson, aka Carson Breber, aka Nerd Sesh, said that the Knicks are debatably outside the Celtics are probably the toughest matchup for the Sixers because they have Hardenstein and Robinson, just like 2 really tough guys down below to really contain Embiid. And I definitely agree with him there. Then that would be the second round. Again, I'll take the Celtics over the Cavs in 5. Knock wood, the second round is, as of now, seems to be a little bit easier than the first round, depending on how things match up, which that's what it looks like as of now. And Then for the for the bottom bracket, I would take the Knicks over the Pacers in 6 games. I don't really believe in the Pacers at all, unless Siakam hasn't really been an elite playoff performer since really Kawhi was there, because even in the bubble he wasn't really that great. But yeah, then it'd be the Celtics Knicks each conference finals. And let me just say, I would, as someone who's been as low in the Knicks the past 2 years and been overachieving, I really just, again, they need to take care of business here. I'm going to say in 6 just to be conservative, but they need to win it. I'm not saying they need to just totally clobber them every single game, but they just need to take care of business, because they kind of danced around. That's been their thing the past couple of years. It's just, pardon my French here, but it's almost like the whole fuck around and find out thing. That's what it's been. So that would lead me to the finals of the Celtics versus the Nuggets. And yeah, same thing as Matt, Celtics in 7. They're gonna have to find other ways to beat the Nuggets besides having Tatum outplay Jokic, because I don't know if there's a world where Tatum can outplay Jokic in the playoff series, but there is a world where Jaylen Brown can outplay Jamal Murray. There's a world where Porzingis plays better than Michael Porter Jr. Not only do I think that there's a world where that happens, I think that needs to happen. I think that should happen. But in a dogfight series, I'm taking the Celtics in a very, very tight, very, very hard fought series, one of the best finals of all time.
All right. So I think some of our I guess a good chunk of our brackets are all a little bit similar. Starting out on top of the West, I have the Thunder over the Lakers in 5. I think the Lakers just don't match up well with the Thunder. I think the Thunder are much more young, much more versatile. I think they take care of business and handle this series pretty quickly. Clippers Mavs, I am going to go with the Clippers in 7. I think this is going to be, like you guys said, one of the best matchups in the entire playoffs. I think that it's hard to go against playoff Kawhi. Luka and Kyrie have been playing out of their minds recently, so I think that's why the series goes that far. But ultimately, I do have the Clippers winning. Back down to the Timberwolves Suns, I kind of went back and forth on this more than I would like to admit. It's tough to go against playoff KD sometimes. And Devin Booker's had a really good year too. I think I've heard Bradley Beal's name about 4 times the entire season. I don't even know if he still plays for them. But that being said, I do have the Timberwolves winning. I think with a healthy Karl-Anthony Towns, a healthy Rudy Gobert, and Anthony Davis playing defense on the perimeter definitely helps them. And I think I have them winning in 6. And then just going down, I think we have the Nuggets playing the Pelicans. I have the Nuggets taking care of business in 5. I think they're just on a separate tier than, not only the Pelicans, but most of the West. So I do have them winning that series pretty comfortably. And did you guys went through the West and then went fully to the East, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So then leading to the Western Conference semifinals, we would have the Thunder and the Clippers. I have the Clippers winning this series in 7. I think this is an excellent matchup too. I think that the Clippers have the perimeter defenders to battle Shea. Kawhi, Paul George. I think they have the versatility to win this series. I think they might have problems down the stretch with Chet maybe. And the Thunder are such a well-rounded team that it's going to be a really great series, but I do have the Clippers winning this in 7. And then that brings you to the Timberwolves and Nuggets. Like Chris, I have the Nuggets winning in 6. I think the Timberwolves are going to steal 1 or 2 games. But like I said earlier, Nuggets are just on a completely different tier than these teams. I think the Timberwolves are a little young still too. Granted, Rudy Gobert is a little older, but guys like Ant Edwards maybe a year or 2 away from really making a competent run to the finals. And then that brings us to the Clippers Nuggets. I think the Clippers match up really well against teams like the Thunder and teams like the Mavs. Not really sure they match up well against teams like the Nuggets. You have, like I said earlier, Kawhi and Paul George play really good perimeter defense. I don't think they have a single answer for Jokic. Maybe they could try to handle Jamal Murray a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think Nikola Jokic takes care of business and wins this series pretty comfortably in 6. But I guess we'll see how many games it would take. And then we'll go down to the East, which I think is getting the East is kind of gotten almost underrated in a sense. I think everyone thinks the East sucks. I think there are a lot of great teams in the East that could make a run and could challenge Denver in a potential finals matchup. So just starting at the top, we would have the Celtics playing the Heat. I have the Celtics beating the Heat in 5. I think that they're going to come out fired, ready to go. The Heat have had their number despite 2022. I know fans like us, we're sick and tired of hearing about the Heat and playoff Jimmy and all these guys. We're tired of it. And I can't imagine how tired of it Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, these guys must be hearing about this. So I think they come out with a vengeance. I think they take care of the series in 5 and send Jimmy Butler home to an early vacation. Then the next series is the Cavs and Magic, excuse me. I have the Magic in 7 here. Like AAH, I've always been pretty high on the Magic. I think almost like the Timberwolves, definitely a little bit less, but they might be a year or 2 away from really, and more like 2 or 3 years away from making a substantial playoff run. I really like Paolo Banchero. Yeah, I have the Magic winning in 7 here. I think the Cavs are a good team, but I know the Magic are probably the underdog in this series, but I have them kind of skating by and earning that matchup with the Celtics in round 2. And I think you guys both picked Indiana over Milwaukee in round 1. Is that correct?
Mhm.
I have Milwaukee winning this series. I know they said maybe that Giannis was targeting a game 4 return. I think while playoff Dame is overrated, he might have the capability to steal 1 or 2 games if he kind of goes nuclear. I think what Milwaukee has to really hope for is that the games he's not, going off in, he doesn't go completely to the other side and throwing the game. So I think that they kind of hang around until game 4, maybe keep it at 2-2, 2-1. They could stick around, and I have Milwaukee winning this in 7. I just think the Indiana Pacers defense it's not a playoff team's defense, and we know that in the NBA playoffs, defense matters. So I think it's really important to recognize that. And then just going down, we have the Knicks against, which would be the Sixers. I think this is an excellent matchup. I don't think Knicks fans want this matchup. I also don't think Sixers fans want this matchup either. I think they're both really, really good teams. I do give the edge to the Knicks in 6 here. Could go 7. I don't know, but I do give the edge to the Knicks. I think they're a much more well-rounded team. I don't think they have an answer for Joel Embiid, but as we've seen in the past, teams that don't have an answer for Joel Embiid, that doesn't really matter sometimes. I think if you want to let Joel Embiid get his 30 and 15 and make the other guys beat you, I think we've seen that formula work for teams to beat the Sixers in the playoffs, and that's why I have the Knicks in 6 here. So then just moving up round 2, I know we mentioned that it would be an easier matchup for the Celtics, and it's an obvious take to have just looking at it objectively. I don't think any of us wants to say that, knock on wood, because look, the Magic could go on a run, or let's say the Cavs win, they can go on a run. I don't think the Celtics, I don't think us as fans should look ahead to matchups. I do have the Celtics winning in 5 here. I think the Magic would take 1 game. But like I said, I don't think we should be discounting any playoff teams come May or June. And then that leaves us with a really good matchup, I think, with the Bucks and the Knicks. Hopefully, I say hopefully as an NBA fan, hopefully we get a healthy Giannis to play this Knicks team, because I think it would be really, really good basketball. I think it'd be a really good matchup. I do have the Knicks winning in 7 here. I think the Bucks with Doc Rivers are they're not super impressive to me. Yeah, Matt wants. Yeah, Matt will make be a little more candid than me. I have the Knicks winning in 7. Could be 6. Could be 5. Honestly, depending on the health of Giannis, I think the Knicks have been playing great basketball. And yeah, so I would take the Knicks here, which would lead us to an Eastern Conference Finals. of the Celtics and Knicks, which, gives me heartburn just thinking about it right now. I think I'm going to block Dean's number and John Cassidy's number for that matter for that, entire 2-week span.
The only Knicks fan we want to hear from that week is Uncle Blue. That's the only Knicks fan we
That's
can
right.
hear
I
from that
will
week.
accept slander from Uncle Blue. That would be okay. But yeah, that series does make me a little nervous because I do think the Knicks play really good basketball. And they have been playing really good. Jalen Brunson's been playing like a top 5 player in the league. I don't think he is a top 5 player in the league, but he's been playing really well. They have great shooting. I've mentioned on the podcast before. And they're very, very deep, which I think puts them at an advantage in that department. But I just think best players on best players. Celtics win this series in 6. Again, great series. I just give the edge to the Celtics here. And then that brings us to our third Celtics and Nuggets matchup on this podcast. And like you guys, I have the Celtics winning in 7. I also have me scheduling an appointment with my cardiologist because this is going to drive me crazy. But I do have the Celtics winning in 7. I think they're the overall better team. The Nuggets have the better player. No question about that. I think the Celtics are more deep, and I think they have the better starting 5. And Chris, I didn't ask you before, but my tiebreaker is 218 points. 218.
I actually had a much higher number. I actually had it, I think, 243. Yeah, the very, very high scoring series. Which, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Dan Greenberg has the one stat like if they score over 120, like they never lose. So hopefully it'll be the case there too. But cool. But yeah, John Matt, we'll talk about this off the air. But if you guys can just send me your brackets so I can post it on the Instagram, that'd be great. But yeah, again, gentlemen, thanks for coming on the show. I'm definitely looking forward to watching the games tonight and tomorrow, and of course next week as well. We'll be doing this every Tuesday at 6 as always. But just a couple of plugs, as I mentioned, like and subscribe to Chilltown Hoops and Sports Fluence to join the show. Also follow me on all my social media platforms on All American Hooper on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And also take a look at as I mentioned earlier, at my column on primetimesportstalk.com. And yeah, as I mentioned, most wonderful time of the year. So we're going to be more active than ever. Hopefully we can maybe see if we can get a couple weekend shows in there. If not, no big deal either. But no matter what, we'll be back here on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Hope everyone has a great night.